Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute since I've uploaded a tutorial, so I just wanted to say hi. I hope you all have been doing very well. I started off this year getting insanely sick, so I haven't been crocheting at all, but lately I've been loving the look of lace cuffs, and I'm feeling better now, so I think it's time I dust off my crochet hooks. Today we are going to be making crochet lace cuffs. This is a super fast project, you don't need much to make them, so go ahead, get comfy, and let's lock in for a minute. For this project, you're going to want to have a number 10 lace weight yarn and a 2.5 or 2.75 millimeter crochet hook. If you don't have that exactly, don't worry about it. I mean, it is what it is. Use what you have. You'll also need a stitch marker. I think a safety pin works best for this project. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a rocking playlist, and there will be a written pattern for this in the description. By the way, a song that I've been obsessed with lately is Don't Remind Me by Amber Mark, and it features Anderson .Paak. It is absolutely amazing. I'm obsessed. You should give it a listen. Also, if you're going to listen to Amber Mark, you need to listen to By the End of the Night. It is also really good. The vibes, top tier. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. This tutorial won't have any background music, so you can play your favorite songs as you work on your project, or you can listen to one of my recommendations. I don't know about you, but I love to crochet with a good song or movie in the background. Don't worry, you will hear my lovely voice. There just won't be any background music. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Now let's go ahead and get on into this tutorial.
Okay, let's go ahead and make our first cuff. So you're going to start off by making a slip knot, and then you're going to chain 5. After your chain 5, you're going to do a treble crochet, and we're going to do that treble crochet in the very first chain of our chain 5. So you're going to yarn over 2 times, go into that first chain, pull up a loop, then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 more loops, then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And essentially what you've done is you've made like a little circle. Then from there, you're going to chain another 5. You're gonna turn your work, and at the top of this treble crochet stitch right here, you're going to do another treble, and it's gonna end up making like another loop. So what this is going to prevent us from having to do is make a really long chain and then go back and do like 1 row of mesh. We're kind of like doing 2 steps in one. Okay, so we just chained 5. Now we're going to do another treble crochet, so yarn over twice, and then in the top of that treble crochet, you're going to do your next treble crochet. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now you have 2 of these little circles. And we're just going to keep doing this until you have a piece that is long enough for you to wrap around your wrist. And you want to make sure, because this is going to be something that we slide over our wrist, that you can easily fit it over this widest part of your hand. So let's just do this one more time together. So from here we chain 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn your work, yarn over 2 times, and in the top of that treble crochet stitch, you're going to go ahead and do your next treble crochet. And each time you pull through, you're pulling through 2 of those loops for your treble crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this. I'll meet up with you guys once I have a, well, I guess I can't just call it a basic chain, but we are making a chain essentially. So once I have a piece long enough to wrap around my wrist, I'll meet back up with you guys. Okay, so I just finished making my little chain of loops, and I have 10 of these little like circular chain thingy-majiggers. I do have really small wrists, so you might need a couple more. It is fine. Just customize it to your body and just make sure that it is going to be something that you can stretch over this wide part of your hand here. So next you're going to make sure that your work is not twisted, and we're going to join this in the round. So go to the other end of your work, and in that very first stitch, you're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch. Now working our way into round 2, what you're going to do is you're going to pull up the first chain in this very first loop that we come, or a little circle thing that we come to, and you're just going to slip stitch into the very first stitches You don't have to be super neat with this. We're just trying to make our way to the center of this chain. Now I'm in the center of my first little chain of 5. And then what you're going to do is you're going to chain 3. This chain of 3 does count as your first double crochet, by the way. And at this point, I highly recommend that you take a stitch marker and you put it on that third chain of that chain 3 before continuing on. So that's all we're going to do in this first little chain of 5 circle here. So in the next chain of 5, you're going to start your repeat, which is going to be 1 double crochet into the chain 5 space. Then you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to go back into this chain 5 space and work another double crochet. And now we're going to do that for all of these chain 5 spaces around our work. So let's do one more together and then I'll meet you guys at the end. So after we've done our double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into the first chain space, we'll move over to our next chain space and we'll do the same thing. So you do 1 double crochet, chain 3, then do 1 more double crochet into the same chain 5 space. Okay, so you're just going to repeat this all the way around and I'll meet you guys at the end of this row. I just worked my way around the first round and now this little tail end is getting in the way. But now I'm back at this very first chain of 5 where I slip stitched over to get to the center and then did my chain of 3 and there's my stitch marker. So you're going to end off this round by doing 1 double crochet back into that first chain 5. Then you're going to chain 3. And then where you have your stitch marker is the top of the chain 3. So we're going to go ahead and reach into that point and slip stitch. And there you go. That marks the end of round 2. Now going into round 3, we're going to start off the same way we started off round 2. So you're going to do a chain of 3, and this does count as our very first double crochet. I'm going to once again take my stitch marker and put it on that third chain of the chain 3. Then in the next chain 3 space we come to, you're going to start doing the repeat for this round, which is going to be 1 double crochet, chain 4, and then 1 more double crochet into that same chain 3 space. Now after that, you see we have like these 2 double crochet stitches here. Well, into the top of this double crochet here that sits right before our next chain 3 space, we're going to do 1 double crochet. So right over top of this double crochet here. Just do 1 double crochet. Then in the next chain 3 space, we start the pattern over again. So in your chain 3 space, you do 1 double crochet, then chain 4, and then you do 1 more double crochet into that same chain 3 space. Then before we get to our next chain 3 space, we have to do 1 double crochet into the second double crochet stitch. So skip this one, we're going to put it right in here. And that's going to be the repeat for this round. So one more time, moving over to the next chain 3 space, we do 1 double crochet, then chain 4, then go back into that same chain 3 space with another double crochet, and then skip the stitch of the next double crochet, and the double crochet that follows, you do just 1 double crochet. Okay, and keep repeating that all the way around your work. I'll meet you guys once we get back to the stitch marker. So I've worked my way around this round, and before we get to our chain 3, our last little chain 3 space here, we need to not forget about that, even though it looks kind of weird. It looks a little weird, it's just tight because that's where we started our round. So what we're going to do is we are going to once again, so what I did, let me show you guys a stitch beforehand. So I did my 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet. So then I have to do 1 double crochet over top of this second double crochet stitch right here. And then working my way into that final chain 3 space, we do our 1 double crochet, chain 4, and then do 1 more double crochet into that chain 3 space. Then from there, you can remove your stitch marker and we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 stitch. All right, so that was the end of round 3. Now going into round 4, once again, you're going to start off with a chain of 3, and you can put your stitch marker on that 3rd chain. Then in the very first chain 4 space that we have, you're going to do 2 double crochets. Then you're going to chain 3. And then do 2 more double crochets into that same chain 4 space. Then before we get to our next chain 4 space, you see this, excuse me, you see this middle double crochet of these 3 double crochets here? You're going to do 1 double crochet into that second double crochet stitch. Then we're going to repeat the pattern into all of the remaining little chain spaces and double crochets of this round. So next chain 4 space, we do 2 double crochets. Then we chain 3, and then do 2 more double crochets in the same chain 4 space. Then in the second double crochet stitch here, right in the center of these 3 double crochets, we do our 1 double crochet. And you're just going to keep repeating this pattern all the way around. I'll meet you guys when I get to this chain 4 space right before the chain of 3 with our stitch marker. Okay, I've made my way back to my starting point. As you can see here, the last double crochet I did was the one that sits in the middle of these 3 double crochets. So now I have to do my last little set here of 2 double crochets, chain 3, and then 2 more double crochets, all in this chain 4 space. And then from there, all you're going to do is remove your stitch marker, and then you're going to slip stitch into the top of that 3rd chain from your chain 3. We're going to take all of the same steps that we just did for row 4, and we're going to do them 3 more times, or I should say I did them 3 more times. You can do it however many times you want to get the desired length of the cuff that you want. So I'll go ahead and get started with this next row and then let you guys finish up the 2 that come after that, because it's all the same instructions basically. So going into what essentially is row 5, you're going to start off with a chain of 3. You can put your stitch marker on the top of that chain 3 if you so choose. Then instead of going into the chain of 4, we're going into a chain of 3, but it doesn't change anything that we've done in the previous row. So once again, you're going to do 2 double crochets, and you're going to be putting it in this chain of 3 instead of a chain of 4 this time. Then you're going to chain 3 yet again, and then go back into that same chain space and do 2 more double crochets. See, so nothing has really changed there. We're just working into chain 3 spaces instead of a chain 4 space. And then the other little difference you'll notice is that here we have 5 double crochets instead of 3, and that's just because we're now putting 2 double crochets into each of our chain spaces. But it doesn't change the fact that you're going to put a double crochet into the centermost double crochet stitch. So forget about these two on this end and forget about these two on this end. That double crochet, which is the third double crochet, is where you're going to do your next double crochet. Okay, and then you work your way over to your next chain space. So you'll do 2 double crochets, chain 3, 2 double crochets, then find that third double crochet smack dab in the center here and do 1 double crochet and repeat all the way around this round. You guys know how to join and end off this round, and then you'll just repeat that 2 more times. So we'll have 4 of these rounds with 2 double crochets, chain 3, 2 double crochets. Okay, so I'll meet you guys once those are done. After you have done your additional rounds and you're satisfied with the length, we're going to go into our final round, starting off with a chain of 1, and then you're going to do 1 single crochet into the top of that chain 3. Then you're going to move over to your first chain 3 here, and you're going to do 3 double crochets. So that is half of what is going in this first chain 3 space. Next, you're going to chain 3. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to slip stitch into the first of those chain 3s that you just did. And that's going to make like this weird little teeny tiny bump thing, which is going to be our peacoat or peacoat, however you pronounce it. Then after that, you're going to go back into the same chain 3 space with 3 more double crochets. Okay, so that's the first one done. Then you are going to go ahead into this center double crochet here, which is the third double crochet of the 5 double crochets there, and you're going to do 1 single crochet. And then we're just going to repeat all the steps that we just did here into this next chain 3 space. So start off with 3 double crochets. Then you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to slip stitch back into this first chain of your chain 3. Then you're going to go back into this chain 3 space with 3 more double crochets. Now we have 2 done. Finish that off by doing 1 single crochet into the third double crochet out of these 3 double crochets here. So right here in the middle. So you're going to repeat this all the way around until you get back to your starting point, and I'll meet you guys. Oh, I also forgot to put my little stitch marker here on this very first single crochet that I did here. It just makes it a little bit easier for your eyes to find where you're starting and ending. But so go ahead and work your way around this round, and I'll meet you guys back at our stitch marker. All right, so I just made it back to my starting point of this round. I did my 3 double crochets and then my little peacoat stitch and then 3 more double crochets in this last chain of 3 here. So now I'm just going to remove this stitch marker and I'm going to single crochet, or excuse me, not single crochet, I'm going to do a slip stitch into this single crochet stitch here. Then from there you can chain 1 and cut your yarn. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to work up a little bit of like a band at the top of our project. So it doesn't matter where you start at, just go ahead and insert your hook into one of these little chain 5 loops here, and you're going to reattach your yarn. Then you're going to go ahead and chain 3, and this chain of 3 counts as a double crochet. So we're going to do 4 more double crochets into this chain 5 loop here. Now that I have 5 double crochets into this loop, I'm going to go over to the next loop that I have, which, oops, I have all these little tail ends. Sorry, they're in the way. But I'm going to go over to this loop right here, and I'm going to do my next set of 5 double crochets. Okay, so my first 2 loops have 5 double crochets in each, and we're just going to go around and into each of our loops. You're going to do 5 double crochets, and I'll meet you guys once we get back here after we've done 5 double crochets in this last loop here. Okay, I just did my last set of 5 double crochets. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch into the top of this chain 3. Then you can chain 1, cut your yarn to fasten off. Now your cuff is done. I still have to weave in my ends, but other than that, you're done with the cuff. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make a chain that we're going to use to help tighten this part that sits around your wrist for comfort. So you're going to take your yarn, you're going to make a slip knot, and then you're just going to work up a long chain, however long you want it to be. Just make sure that you do something that is long enough that you'll be able to tie a little bow around your wrist. So I'm just going to work up a chain until I have 20 inches in length. My chain is now 20 inches long, so I'm just going to cut this, fasten off, and then I'm going to grab my cuff and my stitch marker. I'm going to attach this stitch marker onto this chain here, and I'm going to use this to help me feed this through these double crochet stitches. So I'm just going to start here, and I'm going to go up and around, like behind every other double crochet stitch here, and this is just me weaving them through, so that way I'll be able to tie this all together really nicely, and you know, it'll look very seamless when you kind of spend the time to just go back and forth between all of these double crochet stitches, because then you won't be able to see your ties. So I'm going to go ahead and finish weaving these back and forth, and I'll meet you guys once this is done. My work looks very messy right now, but that is because I just finished weaving this little chain through that top loop, and as you can see, you're able to like scrunch it up now to fit your wrist comfortably. So after that, all you're going to do is weave in your ends, and then excuse me, and then you're going to repeat all these steps all over again to make your second cuff. And this is what a completed cuff looks like. It's super easy, super simple, and you literally can put it underneath like any top or jacket or sweater. So it's a lot of fun. You get a lot of versatility from it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this project, and you know, if you post anything on Instagram, be sure to share photos with me. I do love to see the work and the colors that you guys choose for your projects. Okay, but that's all. Until next time. Bye guys.